Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is a wonderful day because we're finally getting hands-on with the new MDT LSS Gen 3 chassis. Now, it's available in a few different configurations. Today, we've got the competition configuration, which we are going to be assembling. Now, YouTube person, it's very important that you understand that we won't be modifying the firearm, which is this bit, at all in today's video. We're simply going to be assembling this beautiful modular chassis system, okay? We've got a top-down camera, guys. Let me know what you think about that. Looks pretty cool. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. Installing a chassis might seem very intimidating, especially when you do it the first time, but it really isn't. So let's have a look at what we're working with in the box. First of all, MDT give you a mint because your installation shouldn't suck. The mint should. Now, sometimes these installations might seem tricky, but they're really not. We've basically got three components here when we're working with the LSS Gen 3 system. We've sort of got the base, okay, which is this section over here, and to that we can attach a variety of different buttstocks, okay, through a little bit of an interface extension that we have here. So this is going to go somewhere like that, and then you can attach a variety of different buttstocks. Then on the forend, you could shoot it basically just like this, or you could have different forends, like I've got the competition forend that we have over here. So let's get the actual firearm out the way, and because it's going to be pretty much plug and play once we have the chassis assembled, we're going to do that first. We're going to get the firearm out the way and then assemble our chassis. Okay, so we have buttstock over here. Our big grip is going to go over there. This interface is going to sit something like that. Our grip goes there. The middle section is going to sit over there, and then obviously our forend is going to sit right there. Now, what's really cool is MDT also do provide you with the tools you need for this assembly, because nothing sucks more than wanting to tackle a project like this and you don't have the right tools. So thanks for that, MDT. There are some plugs and some stickers and some other things in here too. And it looks like an extraction screw. Could that be? Probably is, unless we figure out a use for that later. This is going to be the little trigger assembly bit that goes over there. So let's get the box out the way and get this sucker assembled. Okay, first things first, we are going to use this interface section and get that married to our main part of the chassis. So for that, we are going to need not that guy. One thing I do like that MDT started doing over the last few years is giving these action screw keepers with, especially for somebody like me that's regularly swapping between different chassis, that you don't lose those action screws, because if you lose those, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Now, in our part 2 of this video, we know obviously that this 6-dash of mine is an absolute laser beam, so we're not going to be shooting it in today's video. However, next weekend, actually this coming weekend, I have a long-range match, but it's limited to the size of the cartridge. So it's kind of, they call it small case, okay, so klein doppie. So that's what we're going to be doing this weekend. I've never shot this format, and I'm going to be running this setup in that, so super, super pumped. So hold thumbs and subscribe so you can see how we do shooting the LSS Gen 3. Next up, we have to get the buttstock on over here, and what I have found in the past, this screw is a little bit of a pain in the ass, okay? So the more you can do it with your thumb, okay, the less work you have to do with the Allen key in that confined space. So talk amongst yourselves while I quickly wiggle this thing as in as I can before having to resort to the tools. Yeah. They have thought about this because they have actually put a relief cut in there so you can get in with the tool. That's awesome. That used to be a huge hindrance on the original ACCs and stuff. Just be careful here that you don't accidentally scratch your new chassis. That would be a shame. Okay, guys, here you can lean on these. Okay, I'm gonna tighten this up very nicely, because the last thing I want is any sort of slop in my buttstock interface here, because any sort of wiggle or stuff like that is not gonna be good for long range consistency. That's perfect. Right. Next up, we have to get the competition forend on here, and to do that, we have to take off these screws at the front here. Basically, you have to get rid of this sort of polymer housing. That polymer housing is there that if you just get the base sort of system, that you can actually shoot it like that. If you wanted like a 12-inch 8.6 blackout or something like that, then you could do that. What do you guys think about the 8.6 blackout? I have been doing some homework because I'm thinking like a little subsonic gun. Oh, let me interrupt myself here. Always pay attention when disassembling things, because on this system, and I learned this the hard way, there are different lengths of screws. So pay attention that the short little one goes on the back here, and the long two goes sort of at that 4 o'clock kind of angle, because you could do some damage when you do this the wrong way round. I have unfortunately stripped a screw on my Hunt 26 Forend doing it by not paying attention. Anyway, I've been doing some homework on the 8.6 blackout, and it looks to be a spicy cartridge for shooting like a heavy subsonic bullet for some vomiting and stuff, because I'm thinking like subsonic. I was initially thinking of building a 300 blackout bolt gun, but we might as well go 8.6 blackout and call it a day, because if something worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Okay, now this should basically ka-ching, just marry up like that, and then our same hardware is going to go in the same positions, just like this. Relatively straightforward. The hardest part of this whole assembly, and if you've installed these grips, you know that this grip is kind of like a little bit of a tricky bit, but for the most part it's really not that difficult. I'm not going to tighten those just yet. We're going to work all of them in first and then start cranking down on them. And I say crank down, but yeah, just sort of tight enough. You don't want to strip these, because working with aluminium or aluminum, yeah, it's not ideal. I must say I'm super excited to get the hunting version of this, which unfortunately is not out yet. But you guys can bet the second that it is, we'll have content on the channel. And yeah, something I'm really excited for, because lately I've done a way more hunting stuff than sort of competition stuff. So that's almost our entire chassis system ready. What we have to do now is pop that grip on, which, as I said, can be a little bit painful if you haven't done it before. And then we have to put this little trigger bar, which looks to just clip in like that. Did I miss something here? I possibly might have. That goes in like that. Yeah, it's got a little index thing, and then don't break it, Pete. Oh no! This is why you guys watch my videos, because I was meant to put this in prior to attaching that to the chassis. So with the magic of YouTube, we can now, can we bend this in? I don't want to break it, so I'm not going to bend it in. I'm going to redo all of this, and with the magic of YouTube, it'll be done. Okay, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Now the trigger guard is in, and we can get cracking on assembling this grip. So let's get that Allen out the way. As I said, the biggest thing here is this grip, and you pretty much figure it out by doing. I mean, you could read the instructions, but that would make you less of a man, because we all know that real men do everything twice, but we have enough pride to figure it out without having read the instructions. The most important thing is probably that you torque your action screws, and that's why you guys are watching the instructions versus reading the instructions. So 65 inch-pounds is what I do on my chassis systems. So now that the grip is on, those little side screws must just come off before the grip can slide into position. I actually don't love this giant grip. I prefer the sort of original style grips, even though I have the big one on there too. I kind of prefer the original ACC grip. Who's with me on that? I just have small hands, so kind of works for me, the original grip. So let's pop this screw in its spot over there. There we go. And then we pretty much are donezos. So That's an oddly shaped piece of rubber, that. Right, so this keeps mud and stuff, if you like, in the debris and things, and now we are good to go. What's really cool, we do have an integrated arc rail in this, so we can just slip on one of our sky pods. I'm gonna get these action screw keepers out, and then we're gonna drop our barreled action in this sucker. So let's do that. I do love it when a chassis has plenty clearance, so you can get in here with your fix-it sticks, because it is sometimes quite annoying to have to work on a chassis and you can't get in there with the tools. So there's plenty of clearance here, which is always lovely to see. Right, our action is simply gonna pop in like so, okay? And the beautiful thing about chassis systems, and screws are gonna fall out now, is that now from here on in, there's no bedding or anything like that required. This is going to be as plug and play as you can get. And we are like 90% done with our install here. I'm just going to get that to thread in there. Lovely. Also make sure you keep in mind which action screws goes where, because sometimes there is a bit of a length difference. So that is it for now, okay? We are going to tighten them properly. But in order for me to do that, I'm quickly going to grab my torque wrench at the back here. So 65 inch-pounds, and then we are going to quickly loosen them first. So we just make sure our action is in fact nice and seated towards the rear. Okay, and for me to do that, I hold it upright and I pull down while I start applying some torque on these screws. There we go. Okay, so that is now torque, the front one. Get the rear one in, get some torque on this. Now, if you want, which I sometimes do, I give it a little bit of a boom, boom, boom. I will obviously be zeroing this firearm because there is currently no optic on it, but we do have some optics that we're gonna pop on there. Oops, that wasn't quite in. Okay. So that is our install done. Something I also love to do and would highly advise is just make sure you do a function check. Firearm is clear and that is good to go. So let's pop this guy down there and grab our optic. Now, in the spirit of staying with our all black theme, I'm gonna go for the Strike Eagle. Okay, so that Strike Eagle has already been leveled. Let's get a bipod going. Actually, why aren't we using our rock vise, which is over here? Because now that our rifle is ready, we can simply use the arc rail like that. Okay, get some tension on there. This might actually be out of shot of our overhead camera, but this is effectively what we need to do is get there. Our scope clearance is absolutely on the money. Alrighty guys, there you have it. Ready for action. One thing we need to do is I just need to decide what muzzle device we're going to be running on this. Now usually I would shoot the Area 419 Hellfire break, but I'm not sure if this competition has like ob rules where you have to shoot a silencer or a suppressor. So we will see when we get to the competition. I'm going to figure that out. One thing I did just tighten this scope by hand, and sometimes I forget to come back and actually torque that. So one thing I do want to do is just, which I'll do off camera, is just absolutely make sure that this is perfectly level, make sure the eye relief is perfect, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. I will choose a muzzle device and I'll see you guys in the next video when we go and shoot the small case match, okay, with this dasher in the gorgeous blacked out LSS Gen 3. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the overhead camera, what you think about the build. I think it's pretty spicy. Yeah, cool. Hold thumbs and I'll see you guys at the match. Bye.